My name is Randall Lawrence, host of That Moment podcast show, and I'm here with the CEO representative of Models Inc. Brother, tell us who you are and tell us what it is that you do.
What's up, world? What's up to all the listeners out there that come and patron and get all of the news and updates on That Moment? My name is Bang. I go by Bang Paylor, and I'm the CEO of the #1 modeling organization in Washington, D.C., Models Inc.
All right, so listen. Today is a little bit different. We usually interview actors, producers, and directors, so I wanted to throw a little flavor in what it is that we do. Tell us about the industry of modeling.
Oh, wow. So the industry of modeling is sort of a breakdown of three components, I would say. Depending on the area that you're in. You have your mainstream industry, what everyone knows that modeling is, which is the standard height, the standard size, the preparation to really deploy you into high fashion and runway, which you will see your Naomi Campbells, your Jordan Dunns, your Tyson Bedfords, that lifestyle. Now with the integration of Instagram and social media becoming so dominant, you now have your series of Instagram models, which a lot of the, we would say, real models are kind of like challenged with, because it allows someone to take a device, send in their portfolio from their living room, and reach out to brands personally one-on-one to be able to book. So therefore it eliminates the agent or the agency's part, and it creates a direct connect from the model to the actual brand.
All right, let me backtrack. So tell us how you got started and tell us the struggles of you getting started.
Oh,
with this.
wow.
Yeah.
So many big struggles. So got started probably about, well, me and myself modeling probably would be like a 2005, 2004 going to 2005. Wanted to be a model because I was always told I was tall, things like that. So I said, you know what, I'll give it a try. I did the local circuit in the DMV, DC Fashion Week, a couple of odd shows. And I saw a lack of luster and, I guess, access for me as a model to get put on. Wasn't really that much opportunity. The producers would say like, oh, Scouts is going to be in the audience, or they're going to have these people there, and we come out and there's 10 people in the audience. And we sat there all day, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Yeah. So I wanted to create something business-driven that will make the model feel like they're doing a show of high quality. Some of the shows really didn't have a quality aspect to it. You just walk down, hit it, blank room, hotel ballroom, no aesthetic, no backdrop, no nothing, and you go right on off. No lights, no none of that. And I just felt like being a model, I'm here 7 hours at a set all day. I walk one time. The designers are really not designers. It just was it became to be a headache and time consuming for me. So
when did you feel like you had to create your own?
Well, I got approached by a close friend of mine that wanted to have me come on board to help him with a similar organization. And he knew that I was real good at marketing and promoting and business. So he said, I want you to come on to help me with it. And then he said, you know what? I want you to be a model too. So I came on with that organization and helped build that from the ground up and got them bookings at different venues. And I started to produce alongside with one of their leaders to produce the fashion show. So that's when I knew that I had a niche for actually producing the fashion show aspect and being a model.
From the fashion world, when you say produce, tell us what is that
entail?
Yeah.
So producing the fashion show, you actually scout for the venue. You kind of like already come up with the theme of it or the vision, whether you want it to be straight runway or you want it to be more of a Gothic look, sort of like how Balenciaga does the different variations with their sets now. You kind of like create the moment that speaks to that collection that you want to really buy in with the consumer. So DJ, venue, lights, designer, different things like that. I kind of could see it in my head and see me on the runway all at one time. So that's kind of like gave me the niche for that to actually produce that.
Tell us about your first venue.
Oh, the first venue that we had was a club in Southwest DC. It used to be a big club called the East Side. That was down Buzzer Point. I was a kid when it was called the East Side, but then it got brought and was renamed to Lime Nightclub. That was the first venue. I had a good relationship with the owner there. I did promotion for him with Backyard Go-Go Band. So I just was like, hey, through the connections I had through that industry, can I get this venue? And he hooked up the venue. We brought in staging, which was a T runway. We already had the lights because it was a club, and we just set it off from there.
How did that venue go?
Oh, it went really good. And that was when the bug had bit me in production.
Yeah.
Because leaving that, I kind of felt like good that I threw the show. We made a little money. And I was like, you know what? I never made no money as a model doing it for this time. Maybe I should be behind the scenes more than in front of the scenes.
So how important is it for someone to produce their own thing?
It depends.
Or would you recommend somebody?
I recommend any individual that's in any industry that they want to pursue know all aspects of the industry. Not necessarily do them, but know them. So that when you're in that space, you can kind of like know if it's going right, if it's going wrong, or you'll just be prepared because you're in that space and this is the career you're in.
How did you get involved with the casting aspect? Did you cast locally or did you cast?
I got involved with the casting aspect because after that show, kind of had different visions of how we wanted the organization to go. So I decided to create my own organization because I could kind of like see where it was going. I would like to say that I have a gift where I could kind of like project what things would be probably 5 to 10 years out. And if I'm going to be involved in any mission, I kind of like catch the curve. And I knew the vision that they had was not going to survive. So I wanted to create a vision of longevity for the organization I wanted to do.
How long have you had your company?
16 years. We've been around for 16 years.
That's cool.
And I started out as a kid running kids.
Okay.
So I was actually casting adults that were older than me to model when I was a teenager running this whole company.
Okay. Who have you been involved with on different levels as far as like celebrity-wise?
So running an organization, when I had took that turn, I said, I want to create an organization and I wanted it to be model driven, but I wanted it to also be a space where people could come to be themselves. Yeah. I didn't know at that point that the modeling industry, behind closed doors and in front of the scene, was predominantly LGBTQ individuals that were in that field. So once I started my own and started casting and posting flyers trying to get intake, I got a big feedback from the LGBTQ young community. The organization I was a part of before that was not really with that whole vibe. So I sat down and I did my research and I'm like, oh, okay, this photographer is gay, this model is a lesbian. This is really their industry, so let me embrace it. So I allowed them to come, and I had a large source of Duke Ellington students when I had started out, and they kind of like built the foundation of my organization. And they were writers, dancers, models, actors, all in one. They did multiple things. That opened my eyes to let me know that, hey, this industry is a multitude of things. One person is not just one thing. So yeah, he's a model, but he's contemporary in dance, and he also acts. That trained my brain to say, okay, I need to open the door wider and make it, I guess, cater to more than one thing. So,
and to just piggyback on what you said, in anything that you do, the LGBT community is always a part of everything.
Correct.
And if you truly want to move forward, whether you want to embrace it, whether anybody want to embrace it or not, you're going to have to get to that next level. And now my question again was, who, with those doors, now that you've opened those doors, who have you worked with as far as like celebrity-wise?
So when those doors that got open, and it took so long, like y'all, it was so hard, like, but we'll get back to that.
We're going to talk about the hard part.
It brought the artistry of choreographing out of me. I never knew that I wanted to be a choreographer, but as a child, I could look at a music video and see them do choreography and know the choreography without me even doing it. So I could sit and watch Video Soul on BET and see Aaliyah and know the whole dance, just sitting in the living room watching it. That opening that door with those students created the choreographer in me to come out and develop, which allowed me to work with different celebrities with being a choreographer and providing talent for them for national tours. So it opened the doors for me to work with Remy Ma, Tamar Braxton, Trina, and even be in the space with Nicki Minaj through one of my closest friends, Terrence Davidson, who used to be her hairstylist. He's the first person who gave me the platform to go to that bigger level, to step out there on that celebrity plateau as an artist and choreographer.
Independently wise, and I know we talked about this before when we first met. Independently wise, how much suffering did you have to do to move forward to get where you need to be?
I was saying
take it back to the beginning of the aspect, because most people think because they want to be filmmakers, because they want to be models, because they want to do these certain things, it's just an overnight process. That's not how it goes. So again, like we talked about before, some of these people sacrifice their families, some of these people sacrifice their mortgages, some of these people sleep in cars. Piggyback on what
I would tell any of the dream chasers that's out there listening or watching, you got to have the triple S's.
Right.
And the triple S's is sacrifice, be selfless, and you're going to have to suffer.
Yeah.
You're going to have to suffer. Yeah. And people say 7 is a lucky number. It took me 7 years of investing all my money, all my time before I even made $50 profit.
Talk about the investments.
Man, the investments were so much sacrifice. And number one, your time.
Right.
Like, you have to sacrifice.
It doesn't have to just be with financially money.
Yeah, it's really your time. Like, I was a college student. I knew at the end of the day that no matter if I became successful or not, being an educated black man will always be able to take me through doors that others I wouldn't be able to get through if I didn't have the education. So I was in college, also trying to build this company as a freshman, running around taking 20 credits, also doing rehearsals, going back and forth from Bowie to DC, because DC was really popping with all the people, and Bowie was basically suburban, wasn't nobody really at school wanting a model. So it was just a sacrifice of my time and myself and my education, what I went to school for. I'm paying to actually be here, and I'm skipping out on class to go down here to a networking event to meet more people to build my business. So it just was like the time thing with having friends or wanting to party. I went to parties with them to scout. Like, I'm at the party, they getting drunk, I'm not drinking. I'm looking for the people with the good face, good bodies, tall, who could actually build and be a part of my modeling organization. So different things that students or people were doing at that age, I wasn't doing. I was really there working, whether it was freelance. You go out there to just be in the space, you spend your money to get there, and you don't get nothing out of it. But it's the fact that your face is becoming familiar with those people that's in that space. Network. Because you'll see them again. So it took a lot of that. When it comes to the money, I was working 2 jobs. All my checks was going to my rent and to the business. I had no money for nothing else. No clothes, no anything. It just was a loss. Sometimes it felt like a whale. You just throwing money in a whale and it's just going away.
The part about that, to piggyback on the financial part, it's important for us to make sure that we invest financially in ourselves, because when we do go out to seek those people to invest back in, the first question they're going to ask us, how much have you invested into yourself? Correct. That's the first question that they'll ask you. And if you sitting right here with a dumbfounded look on your face, what gives them any
to believe, to take you serious, to put some money to you?
Yeah. How and why? Why would anybody?
That investment in yourself comes with so much stuff. Like, I probably invested $60,000 before I even knew it was $60,000 in it.
You don't.
I took money to produce a fashion show that probably came up to $7,000. This is in 2006. That was a lot of money. That was all my money, and people who knew I could get the theater for a cheaper rate. And they encouraged me, oh, you should get the B package, when I could have did the A package and saved $3,000. Like, they didn't help at all. Like, I had to go through failure to realize, and I worked with that theater for 3 years before I even knew it was an A package.
Talk about that. Talk about going through failure. Talk about going through failure.
When you're going through this journey of entrepreneurship in general, you're going to come through a lot of things and fail at a lot of things, but don't feel or take it as a loss. Take it as a learning lesson, because it prepares you not to fail again. I never felt bad like, oh damn, I should have did that. Oh damn, why did I do that? I just kept it pumping, kept it moving, because I always could see what it would look like this day. Everyone don't really have that hunger, or everyone don't really have that drive to lose $4,000 and go work 2 double shifts for 2 months to get it all back. Like, so for those people that may not have that, just take it as a learning lesson to keep pushing, because that's all preparation for you to keep it going for whatever you're trying to achieve.
Yes. Yeah. Again, just to piggyback on what you said, you're gonna have to, and anything that you do in entrepreneurship, you're gonna have to fall on your face a couple of times for you to get the better understanding of which direction we're not to go.
Correct.
Again.
And it will be multiple challenges. Challenges makes the story and makes the moment for you worth all the while. So you got to know, some people do get it easy, or you get the story as if it was easy. Some people are lucky. It's very few, but the majority of the greats had to do the work, and the failure and the challenges is the work.
Yeah, it's the work
that prepares you for when you do get all of the things for the last.
We talking to you. I'm glad you mentioned preparation. If you had a show to do 2 weeks from now, how would you prepare for that show?
Oh, well, I'll prepare by doing the casting, make sure I got the budget to produce the show, making sure I got the designers, the space, make sure I have the music to actually go along with each designer, make sure I have the marketing and the promotion to put out, that I've covered all aspects of it.
Sacrificing. When you say sacrifice, name some of the things that you actually had to sacrifice. And the only reason why I'm asking you is because I really want to allow people to see exactly what it takes for you to get where you need to be and what you really have to do.
So one of the hardest things I'll tell you I had to sacrifice was family.
Yeah.
And not being with the family, but the respect for your family. Because a lot of people, especially when you're an artist and your family, they can't see it. When you're an artist, you're gifted with a lot of different things. Vision may be one of them. Courage may be another one. Passion. Different things come with that whole umbrella as being an artist.
Yeah.
They may not believe in it because they can't see it. They can't feel what you feel. They can't really engage what you know that you can do because they're not you. So if they're not, I guess, subjective or supportive to what you're trying to do at the beginning on a large scale because they don't know, that sacrifice of the relationship with the family would definitely be hindered. So it's, for me particularly, like I would ask my grandmother, like, hey, can I use your van? I got a show that's down in Hampton University. I want to go down there. She's like, oh yeah, you could use it. The show day comes. She's like, oh no, you can't use it. Yeah. So now I done told everybody we going. I got 30 people that's supposed to be riding with me. You telling me the morning of this show, which is a competition for money that I'm going to win to put back in the company to make it bigger, that I can't go? Yeah. Oh, I'm still in the van.
Most people don't understand the importance of how you would look at it. Like, to her, it's almost like you just want to use the van just to use the van. You don't know. She didn't hear nothing you said about you got to go pick up these 30 people.
Or don't care.
Yeah.
Or don't care.
Because other people ain't going to see your dream like you
see.
Other people ain't going to understand your importance of what it is you believe in like you.
Correct. And in them early years, I knew that traveling is a big thing. Like, I wanted to be known everywhere, and I knew I want to go everywhere a car could go. So we would do the whole East Coast, like from the furthest from here all the way down to Atlanta. So I'm like, I need to be there. Like, even if we're there late, we need to be in the room. That's why the president of our organization, he was like real big on branding. He like, as soon as he came on, he said, we need to do jackets. They need to know who we are as soon as we get out the car. If they're across the street, they need to be able to look and say, oh, that's Models Inc. over there. So he knew that whole concept of image and that was like his niche. That wasn't really my niche, especially coming from more of an urban community. Image wasn't the best or the first foremost thing on my mind. He understood that. He understood the power of that, which went hand in hand in marketing. So soon as I stole the van. The long story short, I stole the van. And I waited till she said, I need you to go to the store, give me some cigarettes. I said, okay, I'm going to get some cigarettes. What you want, Newport shorts? Yeah, give me some shorts. I went, got in that car. She never saw them shorts that night. And I said, I'm going to deal with it. So I just parked the car when I got back in the morning, put the key in there, and I went to my mother's house. I ain't even see my grandmother for probably like a whole week because I knew that I had to do that.
Yeah. So with the company right now, have you taken it far as it can go, or you still have room to?
So it's
well, I mean, you know what? Let me not say just you, because I know behind closed doors, there's a lot. It takes team to do anything. Has your team, you and your team, have they actually taken it where it's supposed to be?
So for me in particular in this organization, the team really is two people.
Right.
It's me and the president of the organization, which is Ern Handy. Everyone calls him Mother because he's like the mother figure for all. When we started the organization, one of the biggest things that's different from an agency is that it became more than what it really is. I didn't think that it was going to be all this work because it's a lot of work. And the different layers that come with it. We had to become fathers, mentors, employment services, resume builders, confidence builders. Like, it was so many things that I'm just
talk about that just a little bit more.
Like,
some people want to get into the industry but just don't have the basic needs. You may see stuff in them that they don't, so you have to help them. Talk about that.
Like, I thought that I just was going to be getting models, do fashion shows, hitting the runway, and we out.
Right.
But once I got into it, the people that I was receiving, and back then, and still now, models start out very young. So the industry wants youth. Youth drive anything with sales when it comes to entrepreneurship and branding when you're dealing with products. The general marketing wants to cater to the youth. So the youngest model really starts out like 13, 14 years old on the runway. So you're getting these people or participants coming to you as kids.
Yeah.
So you're getting kids coming from single homes, broken homes, homeless, all of that, and you want them to hit the runway, but it takes much more than that. They have to be in that mind space. Mental health this last 10 years has been one of the biggest topics in everybody. But I dealt with that mental health piece 16 years ago when no one even knew what it was. Like, I'm in there dealing with ADHD. I'm in there dealing with kids that's been raped. I'm in there dealing with so much stuff, trying to get their mind in the space just so they could feel confident enough to hit the runway and make my organization look good.
How did Models Inc. help those kids with those severe issues?
Oh, wow.
Not even kids, but just people with severe issues.
It helped them so much because it provided a safe space for them to feel a sense of belonging, membership, to feel like you have a family outside of a family, you have support. Like, I'm still going to graduations to this day, and I feel like
that's cool.
I shouldn't be going to graduations after a decade of doing this. You know what I'm saying? I still have to go to graduations. I still go to schools because people still don't have that support system. So it definitely provided a support system from all aspects to help those students and adults feel loved and feel supported.
Yeah. If you, like right now, if you look back on anything that you've done in the past, would you change anything to get to where you are right now?
Oh, wow. I know a lot of people say no, they wouldn't change it, but I definitely would change a lot. I would change allowing people to live with me. For some of the people that were homeless, I let them come and live without them. They had nowhere to go. We built a bigger bond. Now, being a seasoned business owner, I know some of the people that are closer to you and you do the most for be the ones that really burn you at the end. So I would definitely change that and keep it business first. Kind of like when you have a organization structure that blends family, blends business, camaraderie, and friendship. It's kind of like a wrench for your business. Because in business is business. You're either doing the numbers or you're not.
What we say the last time we met, come do your job and go home.
Exactly. And I wish I would have learned that in black and white earlier, but it definitely would have hindered a lot of the foundation that built this group. to make it be what it was, because a lot of those young adults stayed with me because they felt like we were family. So they sacrificed while I sacrificed to build the organization to what it is today.
Yeah, that's deep.
So, I mean, it's like a gift and a curse. Like, some people may have saw a greater opportunity that fit them, but they stayed because they're like, Bang and Aaron did so much for me, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah. Like, they did A, B, and C when no one would. I'm staying with them. I got members in my group that been with me for 15 years that I had in my organization since they were 15, 14 years old, and they're like 33, 32, 31 years old now. So,
have you gotten to the level where you worked with who you wanted to work with, or you're still striving to work with a certain type of elite?
So, with any industry, you got to get to a point where you protect your space. Sometimes when you're doing something consistently and working at it for a longer period of time, you can't really see who you are from the outside looking in, but everyone else sees who you are because you never took the time to stop and just stop working and see the growth. Mm-hmm. That has been the case for us, because we kind of like to stay in the community or stay at the level that was reachable. But probably in my 10th year, I knew that couldn't be anymore because a lot of things started to change. I guess that's when the people say that a lot of the stars go Hollywood on them. But it's really not that you go Hollywood. You just got to protect your space because you are different. And sometimes you don't realize that you are different. So a lot of things change.
Be more specific about when you say protect your space.
You got to protect your space because now you know your motives, you know your intentions. Right. Others
That's exactly
don't.
What it is, yeah.
Others don't. And now others have different intentions towards you. Not everyone around you may want to be around you for what you think they want to be around you for. So you got to protect that, because you don't want people to come around you to pull from you, to rob you, to steal from you, to do all those different things, because now you're just feeling like regular Bang from DC, and they're looking at you like you're not regular Bang. You're this person with this access, this money, this, that, and I need that from you.
When did you realize, or when was your first best show?
Okay.
I'm trying.
That's a trick question.
Yeah. When do you feel like you had your best performance? That's the question.
Okay. I knew I was good and I had my best performance because in the DMV, back to your first question, you were asking about the different modeling strategies or the different modeling genres. In the DMV, we have something that's called the urban modeling scene. The urban modeling scene.
Break them down to me.
The urban modeling scene is just a more modern version to say the black modeling scene.
Right.
The fashion industry, we all know, was more of a white base, kind of like modeling industry, especially going all the way back in the day. Correct. But to get really deep in history, with the Battle of Versailles, it's the battle between American designers and the European designers over in Paris, where they got together a group of American designers, and Halston was one of them, Stephen Burroughs is one of them. They all flew in a big jet over to Paris to compete against Christian Dior and YSL, all of those big French designers that were there. American designers won, but they didn't really win because of their designs or their fabric. They won because they had African American models modeling their pieces. The factor of why the African American models brought a different flair to make them win is because we brought our spirit. We brought our originality, we brought our energy, and we brought our confidence. The black model is shaped differently, they're built differently, and they have something that Caucasian models don't have.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Please don't get mad. Don't get mad at me, because I guess I. So when at these fashion shows, you guys get other name brand clothes to model and to wear down the runway, like the sponsorships. That's how that works, right?
Or
you make your clothes.
Or designers that are trying to get exposure
There you go. Yeah,
are in the shows, and the model wears the clothes to sell the designer pieces.
There you go. Yeah.
But from that show in history, they knew that you have to have a great model and a great design for it both to win. That show really sealed the deal on that. And the black models brought soul to the runway.
So you guys really compete on that runway with different... Geez.
Correct. And from that piece, no one understood. Because mind you, the French, the Parisian, they had big productions. Mm-hmm. Like they had like Broadway play. They had Liza Minnelli
they had
on stage, like doing it as a favor for one of the designers. Like who could compete with Liza Minnelli, which one of the biggest artists at that time.
Yeah.
All America had was a mix of ethnic and African American unknown models, and models like Bethann Hardison, which is Kadeem Hardison's mother from A Different World. She was one of the lead black models who brought movement, which people would say now like, oh, those models dancing on the runway, like what they doing? Like that ain't modeling. That's kind of like what they say now when they see it, but they don't really know the history of it. Models like Pat Cleveland, who bought like the turns, the spins, and she spun because Halston made an organza dress, and she knew, I want the dress to flow and show the movement and see the colors blend, so I'm gonna do all these turns at the end of the runway. Now, in modern day, when they see a model do turns, they say, why that model spinning on the runway like that? She's supposed to come down to the end pose and go on back. But they don't really know the basis. Those black models brought their own individuality, spirit, and their soul, what they thought that the garment should have doing on the runway, brought it through there, and that made America win. That brought designers through the door or opened the gates for designers like Donna Karan. That opened the gates for Ralph Lauren, because it made the focus shift. Now to America say, oh, they got something that we don't got. And it made the Paris designers look at us for the next day. And that's basically how we have the industry now because of that. So the urban modeling scene stays true to that kind of commitment, which also, like the Ebony Fashion Fair was a big foundation that brought that movement and that flow and that essence of black modeling to the States. So it's kind of like that in modern day. So we have that. And when I came out, I was the third organization made in the area who was doing those kind of concepts. And I knew I had the best show, or that I was good, when I sat back and I thought about it, and I said, these groups been out for 2 years, 4 years before me. They've been modeling since they were in high school. Then they went to build their groups 3 years after high school. They had more experience than me, more access, more knowledge, more notoriety, and more plugs. Here I am, brand new, coming from Southwest DC, don't know really nothing about nothing. And my very first show, location, venue, quality, designers, is better than people that's been doing it for 5 years. So that's when I knew, like, oh, I must be good at it. And I studied it. So after my show, I review it. And I went to their shows, and I sit in the back. Or I'll go to the other competition shows, because I looked at them as competition. They didn't look at me as competition. They said, oh, he don't know what he's doing. But I always looked at them as competition, and I went to all of their stuff.
Or educating yourself even more.
Correct. It was almost like my own course of studying what I don't like and what I do like. And then I studied mainstream. So I would go home and watch the Style Channel, and look at Fashion Week in Milan, London, Paris, New York, and look and see what they were doing and see how the models were walking. And back then we had the supermodels, Linda Evangelista, Naomi Campbell, Christy Brinkley, Cindy Crawford. So I looked at their style.
What's the difference from a regular model and a supermodel?
The supermodels were the models that didn't get out the bed for less than $10,000. They were the models that were the muses in the forefront for all of the high-end designers, Versace, Chanel, Gucci. They were booked. They either closed the show or opened the show, which would mean they would be the finale model for the biggest or the best piece of that collection. And those were a group of girls that were booked for all of the high-end designers. The male supermodel was Tyson Bedford. That was the biggest black African American model at the time. He was the highest paid model and the only black model at the time that was consistently booked for the Ralph Lauren brand. So he really brought through with underwear and swimwear. So that made him the supermodel. But that's kind of like what the definition was for them.
Mm. If you had a choice to want to work with somebody like right now, who would it be?
Oh wow, it's so many of them. Especially some new one. Alton Mason is like the new male supermodel. He's like the big deal. He brings the African American flair that we discussed. He dances in some of the shows. He brings his personality. He doesn't have one set standard walk. He changes his walk to the actual clothing. And he's really young, so he's an inspiration to a lot of black male young models who want to get in the industry. And Naomi Campbell, which is more of the icons, embraces him to show the unity factor with the black models as well. So that's definitely one person I would like to work with.
Location-wise, what do you think? What was the best location that you've actually ever did a fashion show with?
My first fashion show was at the historic Atlas Theater on 8th Street. So that was a big thing for me to be there when the competition shows were all at recreation centers or VFWs or places like that. For me to come straight through the gate and go to the venue where Duke Ellington played and Miles Davis played, and to be in DC where my organization is from was a big thing for me. And then modern day, I went back and had one of the shows I brought New York. I think you played it earlier on the Psych, where the girls came out and did a little dance set before they actually modeled. It kind of brought it full circle because that's where our first show was at.
Compared to what it is that you do now, what type of level would you think you are now compared to, let's say, 6 years ago?
I'm on a different level internally. It's more about me and the sustainability for me as an individual. Because when you're in the industry and you're dealing with people, you're already going to have some type of faultiness. I
can only imagine, like, when you do these casting and when you do these rehearsals or when you do these things, the preparation before the shows, how many a set standard, how many people do you have to deal with? Oh
wow, you deal with so many. So for standard show for us, we're dealing with probably 55 to 60 models. Then you're going to be dealing with 12 to 13 designers. Then if you're doing children modeling, because we have a children's program,
totally different,
and we got 20 kids, we got 20 times 2 parents that you have to deal with them. So you have 3 groups of people already that you have to please, maintain, and manage. That's not even a makeup artist. That's not even the production staff of the venue, the lighting, the sound. You have to manage with them.
Talk about, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Talk about your support system to help you to deal with all that type of stuff.
Oh, wow. The support system really didn't come into play for us. When I say team, it's really been me and Aaron probably for the first 10 years.
Just you and Aaron taking care of all of that stuff?
For the first 10 years, doing everything. We do the
just you and Aaron working with 60 or 50 people. Just you and Aaron. That's it.
For the whole entire ride. But then those students or those young adults or those teenagers now grow into adults that's been with us since 2010.
So they're part of your family.
So now, when you're working with them, you kind of like pick the ones that are maybe good at organization, structure, analyzing things, management. So now we have like 4 that help do those things. So I have one young lady, her name's Naomi. She deals with the makeup artists, the designers now. But if she's doing her own thing, because now she's a teacher, she won't be there for every show.
Give a shout out to those people, because right now is the perfect time to let them know how much you appreciate them.
Oh wow, I appreciate my models: Striker, Naomi, Blaze, Goldie, Cougar. Definitely appreciate Aaron. Aaron is just like the battery for all of my creative ideas. Like, the artistry, all of that. You know, when you're an artist, you just come in the room with the ideas.
Right.
He's like the accountant, management. He manages me. It's just he manages the models. He's that person.
We actually thought Aaron was going to be here today, so let him know we had everything set up
Yeah.
for him too. So let him know that.
And he's at his full-time job now because he does so many different things. And this organization has allowed us to explore the different things that we're good at. That's really one of the big benefits that it have. But those models, GP, Sonny, Banks, like they really, 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 really hold us down in the things that they've learned that they're good in as well by being a part of the organization.
Now I'm gonna ask you this question. Now, internally, have you gotten to the point where you feel like, all right, I've done exactly what it was that I've actually set out to do, or do you feel like, hey, I got some more inside of me that I need to burn out?
Whew, that question be different, and I feel like when you sit and you say like, I feel like I've done all I'm supposed to done, something is wrong with that response. Because with anything, everything grows. And it will grow to be something different than what you sought out for it to be. So like with one of my lead people, his name is Prototype. When he came into the group, all he really needed was confidence. Discovered he's a really good dancer. Discovered he's a really good leader. He's one of the best leaders that I've ever had in the organization. When you pour into a person and you see what they could do, you're like, you know what? That's all I could do for him.
Right.
I can't do no more. Now he needs something totally different that's not model related, dance related, or anything that now we're subject to
but
do.
It's still in that field.
But it's still in that family because modeling is the sister to dance and the mother of acting. It all really kind of like correlates with each other with movement, knowing your angles, knowing your body, knowing your focus, being confident, being passionate. Almost when you put on the actual garment, you become what that garment is saying. Just like when you put on the role, you become the character. All of it really relates in itself. So being aware of you, your emotions, your the different way you may move your head as Randall is not how you're going to move your head as Jake, the character. So all of those kind of things correlate, and modeling prepares you for that.
When did you actually have an emotional period where you actually saw a bit of, that's what I was looking for, a bit of some one of your students doing something like extremely successful?
Oh wow, I got so many of them stories. I got a young girl, her name is Dayshawn. She goes by Day as her modeling, DAI. Her Models Inc. name, because when they're in Models Inc. they get a stage name, almost like a line name if you were in a fraternity or sorority.
That's cool.
Her name is Supermodel. She was 5'11" at 13 years old.
Woo!
And everyone in DMV would be like, oh my God, she's a model, she's a model, she's a model, like nonstop. So when she finally got to us, Aaron took her straight on and manager, trying to get her through doors. New York, every weekend in New York doing castings and all that, and it wasn't happening. When she finally got signed in South Africa, it was just like, wow. We knew since day one that it was going to happen, but we just didn't know, and it wasn't allowing it to happen. Now she's in campaigns for Sicily, and she's in Paris doing campaigns for different companies there, and it's like we already knew this as an adult woman now that was going to be her life.
So it's like a time limit in this modeling thing, right?
It happens in a blink of an eye for some, and with some, just with any craft.
I mean, the age. Well, you can now.
Now it's so different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's so different.
Back then, it used to be about.
Soon as you turn age, you're out. Like don't nobody wants you. Now, pretty much, it's a market for everyone.
Got plus sizes, older models, and everything.
Everything. And the money is bigger in some aspects than others. So, like right now, you could be a commercial model and make more money than a runway model, depending on who represents you. Because your representation does the bargaining for your pay. So it's really up in the air. It's a market for every style of body of model. We have deaf models that's a part of our organization that's on national campaigns for Shoe City, billboards in 250 stores all across the nation. I never thought in a million years that will happen, but it's a market almost for everyone.
Talk about agencies, how they can be for you or how they can be against you. Am I using the right terminology, or crooked, or however you want to
So it depends on what agencies. There's a lot of, with Instagram and social media, anyone could be whoever they want to be.
Now, yeah.
So a person could wake up tomorrow and say they're a doctor, or a dentist, and these are careers that take many years, much studying, and a lot of training to really be. So now, if you look at people saying that they do that, just imagine how many people are saying they're agents or they're model scouts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't look at them and see like, oh, do you got a degree in model scouting? Like, you can't say, send me your degree in that. Like, that's just based off experience. So you have a lot of people that pretend and build their pages as illusions to scam or get money out of aspiring models who may be green or not understand the industry. That's a big thing that's going on now. That happens with a lot of people that want to break into this.
All right, so the meat and potatoes about this podcast. Of course, you know the name of this podcast is That Moment. Tell us about your moment in the industry where you felt like, okay, this is what I need to be doing for the rest of my life, or you've had that moment, or a specific moment in your life where you had that specific moment.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn that moment up because I done had a lot of moments.
Yeah, give me a
few. That moment when I knew I could not do this no more unless I make some money. Right. That was the big moment for real. That was the moment I said I'm over this shit.
Yeah, we talked about
like I'm not doing it no more. I invested so much time in this people.
So hold on, let's be clear about that. Hold on, because let's be clear about anything that you do as far as whether it be making a movie or writing and directing or filming or you have to put in a time where you don't ask for money to a certain degree. But there comes a time where you have to understand, hey, that time is over. That's what you're talking about right
That's what I'm talking about. Right. I have been doing it for 7 years straight consistently.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I have been investing 4 shows a year, spring, summer, winter, fall, in DC directly. The best, highest quality shows that could compete with the Fashion Week shows for 7 years straight. On top of doing side performances, college tours, group presentations
and
for
these
different
are all
brands.
without sponsors, right?
All without sponsors. Yeah. And we're doing rehearsals. We're paying for rehearsal spaces. We're doing all this to project that and make that happen.
That's right. Yeah.
We're working with, at this point, we've been working with some of the biggest names in the industry when it comes to brands. We was working with Clairol. We was working with Dr. Lovely. We was working with Andis. People who could just say, oh, we're going to sponsor y'all right now. But it wasn't happening. And we were winning. One competition I entered at Bennett Career Institute, we won first, second, and third place because I entered the organization in 3 different categories as different names for 3 different people. Yeah. But it was the same group. And I choreographed for each different person. So when it came, Models Inc. was all on the stage. So we won $3,500, $2,500, and $1,000, and it was 12 other groups in the show. Yeah. So I'm like, the talent is there, the product is there, the vision is there, and we've won the stuff to prove it. What more do y'all want? Why hasn't the mayor stepped up and sponsored us through doing the community outreach portion that we do? Why haven't these sponsorships that we work for say, you know what, y'all win a lot of things for us. We're going to give y'all some money. Y'all using us on the branding. When we look at the recap video from your event, we're the feature on the recap video. Like, you're getting the marketing out of us, you're getting the branding out of us, but we're not getting the money as an organization. I cannot do it no more. That was the moment for me, that 7th year, when I said, you know what, God? I see what you're doing. You have used me enough. I've saved a lot of kids' lives. I've saved a lot of people. I've poured into individuals to do other things or gave them that piece that they were missing to go and do other things they're supposed to be doing for you. And I feel like I ain't got nothing.
Bro, let me tell you this. And I'm going to let you finish what you said. When you said 7 years, that's a long time to just be pushing out. And for me, it was like maybe 1 or 2 years. But after that third year, I was like, okay, all right, don't start. That free stuff is over with.
Right.
So I understand that you have to dish out more to allow people to see where your talent is, and you can't. For me in the beginning, I didn't feel comfortable with charging people for something that I was still trying to get a better understanding of. Gotcha. But after like my third or fourth year, I was like, hey, okay. I put in my sessions, I put in my work, so I get it, I understand.
See, and in your industry, it's more stable because acting don't really change. Yeah. Acting is acting. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like even with equipment, from behind the scenes point, cameras and stuff don't change. They just come up with a better version to achieve what you want to do. Yeah. You want to see the character in focus. You wanted to be able to move without no shaking. Right. So all you do is go buy the newer version. The art of it doesn't really change. Yeah. In our industry, the art is constantly changing. Mm-hmm. So you kind of like gotta adapt over and over and over to this new style that they're doing things, or the new way that they're doing things, and doing that over and over and over again and still not seeing nothing from it.
Or even behind the closed doors, because technically, y'all gotta pay for y'all travel arrangements, living arrangements when y'all get to certain destinations. If you're not driving, transportation, and if other people can't financially, y'all probably gotta put up. That's a lot of money.
It was a lot. Like what you said that you weren't charging people when you first got in it because you were trying to figure this thing out.
Right.
I was trying to figure out probably the 5th year. Is this going to be a community thing, or is this going to really go to be a business? Right. Even though I had started the business and I knew I was running a business, but the only thing that really separates community from business is money. Right. You're putting the output out. What's your return? That makes it a business. Right. People run businesses to make money. Mm-hmm. I wasn't making no money, so it wasn't no business. Mm-hmm. So I had to make a decision like, okay, my life consumes every day of doing fashion modeling production, fashion show production. I have dedicated every day, even when we're not doing rehearsal, I'm at home creating shows, naming shows, sketches for flyers, marketing strategies. Like, so you're working on your business every day, but you're not getting no money back from it.
You yourself, not even, the company needs to see an investment, but a return, but you yourself, you need to see, because it's a difference. You yourself, you need to see a return so you can make sure all your bills are paid.
Correct.
And everything.
And that's where the challenge was coming. Things were changing. The rent wasn't the same as it was in 2006. Now that we're in 2009. Yeah. The economy was changing. Like, my needs were changing. I could no longer be catching the bus. Like, I'm on Metro. Right. Then produce sold out show. Yeah. Like, it was over. It was. This is the first time I'll probably admit I oversold it. They said it's 360 seats. I said, print me 400 tickets. Oversold it. Leaving the show, no money at all. Like, I got all the I'm sitting out front with the janitors cleaning the building. The janitor actually drove me and Earn home to my apartment because all the models was gone happy. They won their awards. They got their trophies. They got everything. They ain't even look back to say, do we need a ride? They were gone. Exactly. That's when I'm like, something wrong. Like, I said to myself, like, something's wrong with this. Because when I'm looking at them and observing, like, oh, you know what? Randall deserved this. Like, he really did improve his walk. Let me get Randall most improved for 2018. So now I'm going to go buy Randall this $50 trophy. All of this stuff. And now Randall gets the trophy. He didn't hit it. Randall even asked me, got a ride. Randall is 17 with a car. Susie is 16 with a car. Here I am 20 with no car. So it wasn't really making sense. And that maintenance guy gave me the best talk in the world to make me different. Through my journey with those moments, each step, it was a person that kind of like dropped something on me that helped me change stuff. And it was a lady, her name was Lanier Lindsay. Mm-hmm. Everybody calls her Ma Nini. She, every year when we were starting out, she said, oh my God, you're awesome. Like my second year doing this, she said, y'all are the shit. Mm-hmm. Can you do a kids division? I said, I don't want to work with kids. Like kids are just too much, like it's too much risk. Like I'm still a little ghetto at that point in time, you know what I'm saying? Because I come from the streets. I've been to pinch shit out one of these kids. I don't got time for these kids to be here. They whine. I'm like, no, you got to walk the river this way. They're like, no. And I'm like, you make a transition. I ain't got time for them to be dealing with the parents or the father. I don't want to do it. I kept seeing her. Because at the shows that we're doing this stuff, they had kids there. But it was just independent. Mm-hmm. Like, so it was kids walking for kids designer. Right. She'll be there. She's like, oh my God. She tell her daughter name is Zalia. She said, I want you to watch this group, Models 8. You're going to be in this group when you get big. They are the shit. Look at them. Look how they walk in the room. She would have her daughter just look at us. So that third, fourth year, she came, she saw me, she said, I want to talk to you, young man. She sat me down. We was in the lobby. She said, I'm telling you, my daughter is a star. I'm a stage mom. She said, I'm going to let you know I'm a stage mom. Mm-hmm. I don't got no real job. Mm-hmm. But I go everywhere with my daughter and I find the money for my daughter because I know my daughter's a star. Mm-hmm. She said, I have spent in one show probably $1,500, $1,800 on one child. Mm-hmm. Her baby was 6 years old at that point. She said, if you start a children's program, you will make so much money. Mm-hmm. I said, I don't really do it for the money. I don't really want to work with kids, stuff like that. You know, I just do it for we can look good. She said, I'm telling you, if you do a kids program, the way your shows look, it's going to be unstoppable. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? Let me see your daughter walk. Mm-hmm. The daughter walked, the daughter was bad. Mm-hmm. Like, it was almost like a supermodel and a baby. And it blew me away. And I said, you know, I ain't let her see me. I said, oh, yeah, she doing good. Da, da, da. I was like, I'm going to think about it. I went in there backstage. I said, that baby out there is the shit. Mm-hmm. I said, that baby is so good. Like I said, can you walk? I tested her. I said, can you walk back, do a little half turn? Mm-hmm. I said, it was no practice. She just walked back, did a half turn. I said, the adults can't do that. I said, we may gotta do kids. I'm not doing no kids. He said, let's just take like one. Yeah. So we took one, which was her daughter. And when I took her daughter, I didn't know her daughter was the lead kid or the DMV kid winner of all the whole kids in the whole DC or in Maryland, Virginia. Mm-hmm. So when they saw her daughter come, the door just got knocked. Everybody wanted to bring their kid. Yeah. They stalked us. They was on our MySpace because, you know, Facebook and stuff wasn't out yet. They was just like following us like, I need my daughter to be here. I need my daughter to be here. They found out what we rehearsed. They'd be outside of the car, outside of the door with their child. The child would be walking with him through the window. I'm like, what is going on? But we turned them down. We took another little girl who's best friends with her daughter. Mm-hmm. Bomb. Same thing. They both had the gift. So for a year, we only had 2 kids. Mm-hmm. And we would blend them with the adults. So the adults would come and do their segment, and then the kids would come out, the crowd would go crazy. Because the kids were better than the majority of the adults.
Kids got attitude.
Yeah, they were like it. I'm telling you. I'm going to see you the link once we finish, so you can see it. Like, they grown now.
Attitudes in a good way.
No, and I'm saying that. They were divas, but they really had the stride. They had the confidence. They had the poise. They had the walk as a kid. Mm-hmm. And they wear heels, baby heels. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, the crowd would go crazy for them. So then that same parent, she was like, you know what? If you start the kids division, she's still at it. She would sit with us first. Let me go back. She would sit with us. She'd be like, what's wrong? Because she wasn't a fortunate parent either. Right. She was a single parent. But I don't know where she got this money from. You know, so she grabbed out the sky. The babies get custom made dresses, like $500 dresses. Mm-hmm. She found it. She sat with us. She waiting for her cab. There was no Uber, nothing. We wait for our cab still. No car. She said, y'all, let me tell y'all something. She said, go run. She sent the kids over the corner to go run and play. She said, it's no way in hell that y'all are this gifted and y'all produce this quality shit. She said, I'd have been doing this shit with my kid for almost like 7 years. Mm-hmm. I'd have been the Hampton Roads. I'd have been in Atlanta. I'd have been in Philly. I'd have been in Jersey. I done did Norman Cole, Glenn Jackson, Harvey Stoddard, all them. She said, I done did the best. I done sold 20 tickets, 30 tickets, 40 tickets for my one child to be in one runway. Yeah. And she said, none of those shows I did look better than the shit y'all do. Mm-hmm. She said, now I ain't blowing smoke you because I'm a real bitch and I'm going to let you know what it is. Mm-hmm. She said, the quality that you boys do, if y'all start a children's program, it's going to be unbeatable. Mm-hmm. She said, and for me and you to be out here waiting for a cab and y'all still ain't got no money, she said, something wrong with that. And she was very vulgar. Yeah. Oh, she was very vulgar. She said, these motherfuckers got to pay. Mm-hmm. She said, you just had 30 kids. And by kids, she's meaning 25 and under, 25 to 18. Yeah. You just had 30 kids leave out of here that you done poured into, saved lives, gave them a platform, gave them a stage. She said, out of that 30, 15 is ugly.
Hold on. Let me make sure I understand this right. So the venues that you guys were throwing, so you weren't
all state of the art.
You weren't charging for those venues?
No, we were charging for tickets, but because our taste level always been so high, so growing up in the projects, I always felt rich.
So you come out breaking even?
No,
breaking
sir.
Even or
negative.
Losing?
Negative every time.
Yeah.
Growing up in the projects, I always felt rich. I just sit there like I'm in the wrong body. Like I'm in the wrong family. Man. Like something's wrong. Like I just sit in the window just looking at it's hot as shit in this house. Like why we don't got an air conditioner? Like something wrong.
It was basically about the venues that you guys had. You guys were just exceeding the limits.
The taste level that I've always had as a child, and then meeting someone to help me run, because Aaron's taste level is the same. So
the crazy part about that is, not to interrupt you, so it's almost like you gotta invest in good quality stuff for people that can appreciate you a little bit more. But go ahead.
But at this point, they wasn't even appreciating that they was at the historic Atlas Theater. Y'all was at the Montgomery Center for Performing Arts. Y'all was at the Lincoln Theater. Y'all was at theaters where all the greats was at. Y'all doing side performances at the Howard Theater. And I'm leaving out the door with $0 or in a negative. I produced a show at the Arc Theater.
That's Southeast. That's
the Southeast.
Yeah, that's the new one, right?
It came out probably like 2008. They built it, opened it up. That was like a home for us. Mm-hmm. All the shows was there. I'm bringing in Sykes.
That's to rent that's $3,700 to rent that
now. Yeah. But back then it was a little bit more cheaper.
Yeah.
So I would probably rent it for say $2,000, $1,800. Yeah. But now I'm bringing in a whole white runway on their stage, and now I'm bringing in an all painted site on the back of it. Then I got all MAC certified artists backstage doing all these kids from the hood makeup. Then it just was like we did a show called Frozen Runway. Mm-hmm. Ern said, I want snowflakes. I want makeup like snowflake on the side of the face. I said, how you gonna get that shit? He said, no, I got some people at MAC. They had white foil makeup on the side of the face. They charge almost $70 a face. Yeah. And then they charged me $45 a face. This 29 women.
Yeah. So I needed a money managing director because
And all we wanted everybody to leave with was like, oh, that was that show was bomb. That's all we cared about was the quality. Like, oh, we the only people in here that had designer from New York. We had a designer from Project Runway come down to DC.
You actually had to pay him too, right?
Pay him, got his hotel, all that. And this is like the first and second Project Runway that was out.
Right.
You had people in the DMV wearing clothes from the person you just saw on TV. Mm-hmm. Then we had people from Top Model hosting the show in Southeast that you just saw on TV with Tyra Banks. Then backstage mentoring models, giving them advice, and we paid them. Mm. We were leaving out of there in the red more than red could be red. She felt that. she said, you are giving these people a dream. You are providing them access with people they would never, ever meet if they ain't know y'all. You got them all here believing they could be models. Out of 60 people, 15 is ugly. They never be a model, ever. She said, but y'all make them feel like they gonna be a model. She said, you gotta get paid. She said, it's no way y'all not making money. Y'all are the ones. I said, you know what? She said, I'm gonna let you go. Can't pull up. She said, this is the last thing I'm gonna say to you. She said, what show you just do last week? I said, we did the Brown Brothers show in Atlanta. She said, what was that show showed on? I said, it was showed on BET. She said, so you telling me you bringing motherfuckers from DC that would never be a model and their mothers and fathers is at home watching them on BET and you left with zero and they not paying no fee? So that's all I'm going to say. That ride home in that cab was the longest ride of my life. You don't understand. That moment.
So, listen.
That moment, Randall, in that cab.
It was the longest.
I said, that's when it clicked like, something got to change. Something got to change.
So, with that being said, with that little advice, and I know we only got an hour, and we probably passed our hour right now. What has changed? Tell us what you got coming up new. If it's anything that you got coming up new, tell us how we can stay in contact with you.
Okay.
And I know we probably didn't dig deep into talking about certain topics.
Yeah, we got to do part 2, Randall, because we ain't even in the beginning part. We got to do part 2 because that moment, she is the moment.
Right.
Monini Lanier Lindsay is the reason that you see the person you see today.
Yeah, I get it.
Period. Like, she was a mother to us. From that day, I hired her.
Oh, that's cool.
From that day, I hired her with no payment. Mm-hmm. I hired her, let her come work for us. I started the kids division because of her. From her being a part of me and Aaron life, changed every way that we thought. Everything. Like, and it just conformed a whole new vision. She said, them motherfuckers gonna pay a fee. They're gonna pay 20. When we couldn't practice tomorrow, you tell the parent, I said, I'm not doing it. She came through the door and said, okay, line up, y'all paying 20. They paid it.
That's right. All right, tell us what Space Model Inc. is in right now. Tell us what you got going on.
Models Inc. is in a whole nother space from those days. Like, we are a multifaceted house where we do everything. We kind of like produce young entrepreneurships and new entrepreneurs. We produce designers. Mm-hmm. We help them with their businesses, with business development. We pay the plug from LA, New York to Atlanta with resources if you want to be an actor or a model. We're just one house that produces photographers, videographers, singers, dancers, actors, actresses. We kind of like do it all. Me, myself now, I'm a choreographer, I'm stylist, and because of those changes, we were able to create a celebrity clientele. So me and Aaron are celebrity stylists. And because of our work and that investment, people, that we spent all them years in putting the money into those shows and making them look so polished, we now produce shows for New York Fashion Week for different clients because of that.
There you go.
So they could look back in 2007 and see that my shows have already had the aesthetic that they want now. And that's my portfolio as a producer.
Cool. Tell us what you have coming up new, if it's anything that you have coming up new.
So right now, actually today, my music video will drop on all platforms. I'm now recording artist. I rap, and that's a gift that I always had since a kid that I didn't have time to pursue because I was pursuing the fashion and the modeling. So my single out now is Up Tour. It's available on iTunes, Tidal, all platforms. Cool. We're in production right now for our fashion show, The 10 Commandments of Fashion, where we'll be displaying the biblical portion of fashion in those days and bringing it to the runway, more of a fashion with a purpose. Look out for our World AIDS Day fashion show called Red Ribbon. That's on December the 1st. We'll be doing that. Where we give proceeds to HIV Foundation to fight and bring more awareness to HIV prevention. We do a ribbon show every year, breast cancer as well.
Y'all got a lot coming up.
What else else we got? It's so much. We're in process with a documentary of the organization that we're going to be submitting to the Sundance festivals that we're recording now so that people can see the back end on what it takes to run just a Black organization that's fashion inspired and the ins and outs of the organization. Yeah.
Tell us how people can get in contact with
you. Guys can get in contact with us on our website. You guys can get in contact with us on our website through www.modelsincdc.org. Follow us on Instagram at Models Inc. My personal Instagram is Bang500. Aaron's is Aaron Handy. We have a host of different things that we do as separate entities and as we do as conglomerate. We just dropped our new clothing line called Ivan and Aaron. It's featured in Ebony magazine. So you go to ebony.com, you're going to see us there with our new men's and women's wear, resort wear. We just featured that in New York Fashion Week. So we're really excited. We're not stopping. We just keep going and just letting this foundation grow into different things.
Man, it's been a pleasure having you here. And I think we probably got to do a part 2 because I don't think you got it all out your system of what you want to talk about.
Yes, you got me started. I just want to tell them everything.
You like you just warming up. Well, once again, my name is Randall Lawrence, host of That Moment podcast show, independent filmmaker. And again, I'm here with Models Inc. Brother, close us out. Again, give us a formal introduction of who you are and close us out.
Thank y'all for listening to me and hearing my story. Stay tuned for the part 2 because we will be back in the studio pretty soon. This is Bang, Iron Bang Paylor. Hit us up on all platforms, Models Inc., the #1 modeling organization in the DMV, brand ambassador. Stay tuned. Big things coming up. And stream that new single Up To as the HBCU anthem. So if you're out there getting ready for your homecomings, it's definitely the track you want to play.